Ladies and gentlemen, please share the latest segment prior to this one about President Mashed Potato Brains and his future impeachment. The GOP, when they get the House and Senate, will impeach our current president almost certainly more than one time. I want to read you page 13 of the Sussman indictment and explain why the Durham probe special counsel actually scored a major victory over the Federal Bureau of Investigation. Now, CNN, New York Magazine, Joe Scarborough at MSNBC, they haven't actually read the indictment. They don't know much about the Sussman trial. All they know is that it was a public relations defeat, and they don't see any reason for Durham to exist, and they don't understand why a Steele dossier purchased by Clinton, funneled into the United States government, would be something that would get Trump upset, or that any American looking at this would say that's the antithesis of democracy. They don't get it. They think that they have the right to funnel opposition research into the United States government. Simply being suspicious is not grounds to investigate. If that was enough to investigate, they would have already investigated Bill Clinton for a meeting he had outside of a meeting he had with Vladimir at his home outside of Moscow. That's according to Newsweek and according to The Hill. While eventually 20% of U.S. uranium capacity was sold to a company purchased by that country. Okay? That's suspicious. It's certainly not suspicious. 20% of U.S. uranium capacity at a certain point in time is definitely not suspicious to morally superior, wonderful Democrats, even when it's owned by our mortal adversary at a certain point, because Democrats can do no wrong. Like, if they look in the mirror, they just see perfection. They don't see, like, clear pay-to-play schemes and bribery and graft from Hunter's emails or the foundation or any of the overt, almost certain criminal activity that would lead to suspicion. Okay, they don't see that anything on their side could lead to any suspicion from law enforcement or the Federal Bureau of Investigation. Okay? But I want to read you page 13, and this is a huge victory over the Federal Bureau of Investigation, or at least James Comey and Andrew McCabe and Peter Strzok and those people. Here's page 13. This is a quote, and hit subscribe to this channel, ladies and gentlemen. Hit subscribe to the Stock Market Crash channel, the Bitcoin Crash to 10,000 or lower channel. I don't want those things to happen, but they're happening, and I predicted that in September. Watch the segments in the description section and the pinned comment. But here, if you want to become a member of this channel, please do. If you want to give a super thanks to this or any of my segments, please do. To my new Patreons, thank you so very much. I cannot thank you enough. I can't thank you enough to my new Patreons. Your support is greatly appreciated. If you want to support my work, my Patreon link is below in the pinned comment. Here's page 13. Let's for a moment think of the best case scenario where we are able to show somehow that DNS communication exists between Trump and the country that Democrats blame for everything. How do we plan to defend against criticism that this is not spoof traffic we are observing? There's no answer to that. Let's assume, again, that they are not smart enough to refute our best case scenario. Tech Executive 1, you do realize that we will have to expose every trick we have in our bag to even make a very weak association. That's 18 U.S. Code 371. That's a statute that all of these people broke when they conspired against the U.S. government. You cannot, and this is for all the journalists out there at the Washington Post, the New York Times, New York Magazine, Esquire, Vanity Fair, MSNBC, all the hosts, all the pundits, all the wonderful, morally superior YouTube content creators on the left. You cannot have a whole bunch of people using dirty tricks to infiltrate the United States government and have taxpayer dollars utilized to investigate an incoming Republican candidate from an outgoing Democratic administration. Again, outgoing Democratic administration investigating an incoming Republican president. And sorry, doesn't work that way. You cannot have knowingly false information utilized to investigate Trump. And you can't simply say, well, we were suspicious of him. You have to have categorical proof that he was doing something wrong. There's more proof that both Clintons did a lot more wrong than Trump ever did. But they were not investigated in the manner Trump was with the Mueller probe special counsel. Well, I guess Ken Starr. But, what is? Oh, my goodness. H.A. Batman. But I do want Hillary Clinton to run again. I want a Hillary Trump 2024. Hillary Clinton, Donald Trump 2024. Let's do it all over again. We have to do it again. Nobody will be happier because I'll get to see everyone on the left, every liberal YouTuber tell their viewers to vote for Hillary again in 2024, or that would be amazing. That would be like the best thing I've ever seen in my life. So I want Hillary Clinton to run, and mashed potato brains is going to get impeached numerous times. I already explained that in the segment prior to this one. But Durham won a huge victory because you cannot accept, look, John Durham is playing small ball, and that's a strategy he has to change. Okay? Maybe he's just compiling enough evidence, conviction or acquittal. It doesn't really matter. Nobody knew who Michael Sussman was. They knew who Elias was. They knew who Robbie Mook was. And they know all like Strzok, McCabe, all of these people, and Clapper and Brennan and Comey. They don't know who Michael Sussman was. Michael Sussman is not important in the overall scheme of things. He doesn't he's just one of the many people who tried to set up and frame Trump. He's not important at all. So the fact that he worked with people who are admitting, you do have to realize we have to expose every trick we have in our bag to even make a weak association. Let's all reflect upon that for a moment. Sorry, folks, but unless we combine net flow and DNS traffic collected at critical points between suspect organizations, we cannot technically make any claim that would fly public scrutiny. The only thing that drives us at this point is that we do not like Trump. This will not fly in the eyes of public scrutiny. Sadly, it did. Folks, I'm afraid we have tunnel vision. Okay? And then you have one of the conspirators here saying, please read as if you have no prior knowledge of involvement, and you were handed this document as a security expert, not a DNS expert, and were asked, is this plausible as an explanation? Not to be able to say that it is without doubt fact, but to merely be plausible. Do not spend more than a short while on this. This is, of course, them trying to pin Trump on the Alpha Bank allegations. A DNS expert will poke several holes to this hypothesis. That being said, I do not think even top security researchers can refute your statement. Nice. So they're conspiring. They're saying, let's use some dirty tricks and let's just fabricate everything. You can't deceive the United States government. Well, okay. You can't go ahead, because they weren't deceived, they were in on it. You can't go ahead, give a pretext to people who are already biased to investigate Trump. And if the argument is, well, you can't prove that Comey was biased, you can't prove that Strzok or Clapper or Brennan or anyone or Sussman, you can't prove they were biased. That's what the Democrat, that's like what they know, they're so petulant. The morally superior liberal Democrat is a petulant human being. Like, malicious and also petulant oftentimes. Not every Democrat, but many. Very petulant. They know that they, in a serpentine manner, utilize media, government, every social media algorithms, every possible advantage they have, and they still lost to Trump in 2016. And they still are going to get their behinds handed to them in the House and the Senate. And they still have 73 million Americans who look down upon them. And they have Jimmy Kimmel, Saturday Night Live, everything. So Hollywood, they have every conceivable advantage. Yet their ideas and policies are so horrible. 8 to 9% inflation, a complete catastrophe in terms of foreign policy, free fall in terms of the economy. and subscribe to the Stock Market Crash channel and the Bitcoin Crash to 10,000 or lower channel. But that's below in the pinned comment. But you have page 13 that already shows, like, indicting Sussman, and in the trial, the 7th floor was fired up and ready to go ahead and investigate. You can't, if you're conspiring, there's statutes against conspiring against defraud the United States government. You can't simply say, well, we were suspicious. Well, that's fine. Republicans are suspicious of the Clintons. You think they're going to get a special count? Well, they did with, again, they did with Ken Starr 30 years ago. But that was because he did engage in what is, okay? Oh, my goodness. It was an intercontinental, we were talking about intercontinental ballistic missiles. And I didn't have a prop, so lo and behold, I mean, that happened, and they impeached him because he committed perjury. He could have simply said that he engaged in a certain activity and left it at that. But the Clintons don't do that. They either overtly lie or they lie by, it's not just the Clintons, Democrats in general, Republicans too. Politicians in general, okay? In hindsight, what Clinton did is nothing compared to what they did against Trump. Like, the people who conspired against Trump broke many laws. And they didn't do, okay, here's something also for the Washington Post and MSNBC and all these journalists. I'm going to say this very slowly, because I used to be a liberal Democrat or progressive or whatever. I understand the mentality. I'm going to say this very slowly. The DNC getting allegedly hacked and the servers were never given to the U.S. government, so nobody can claim that the U.S. government has categorical proof. That's not national security. The DNC email showing they cheated Bernie Sanders is not national security. That's the antithesis of democracy or national security. It's neither. It's the DNC cheating one of their own candidates in Bernie Sanders and getting, everybody finding out. That's not national security. Well, we were under attack. Our democracy is at stake. You are the antithesis of democracy. You said you had a fair... You can't even have a functioning primary. My God. You cheat your own candidates. You did it also 2 years ago with Bernie Sanders again. Oh, thank you. May I have another failed primary? Thanks, Elizabeth Warren. Thanks for saying that I said something I didn't say. Anyway, so 18 U.S. Code 371. Look up the statute. I wrote in the Federalist. Comey and McCabe should be charged under 18 U.S. Code 371. What would happen if they were both charged is that Comey would turn on McCabe, and McCabe would likely go to prison. And James Comey will never in a million years go to prison. Everyone else, McCabe, Strzok, probably. If Durham ever actually, went for the home run and not like small ball. Who cares about the Sussman trial? This is like a much bigger thing. Much bigger. Anyway, give me your thoughts below. It's huge. Give me your thoughts below. Hit subscribe right now to this channel. And I'll be back in a couple of hours, people. Go to the Stock Market Crash and the Bitcoin Crash channel. I have 2 amazing segments on there right